Good morning and welcome back to the morning commute with Hopi living in the city. Happy Monday, everyone. I hope you had a great weekend. I hope you're ready for this week to get going. It is the third week of July. I think we're all done with birthdays for a while, but maybe we might have another one coming up. Yeah, we have another birthday coming up here. So we'll be celebrating this coming weekend, I believe. It is a beautiful day. And I did test out the 2016 Escape just a while ago. And I verified that it's starting way better. It's firing up a lot quicker than last week. And so with that, what I did was I went to O'Reilly. We got the battery, starter, and alternator checked. They were all in good condition, all firing up properly. So prior to that, I put in about a quarter of the Lucas injector cleaner, the big bottle. I put in a quarter last week. It's almost an empty tank. And then, I think it was like about a quarter to a half tank, and I put that in. And then on Saturday, I filled up the gas, put in another quarter. That was after I was all done. But when I got home Saturday morning, I put in, I took the air filter out and removed the cover for the airflow sensor. And I cleaned the throttle body with the whole can of that throttle body cleaner. Look at that. That is beautiful. And imagine being up there at Canyon Lake right now, watching the sunrise. So I did a whole bottle of that throttle body cleaner, and then I reassembled that. I didn't clean the mass airflow sensor like I had planned, and then after that I put on the new air filter. Then after that I assembled all of that, and then I started working on the spark plugs. I put in some NGK spark plugs, and this time I went ahead and removed the cover for I removed one wiper blade arm, and then I pulled part of that cover off so I can have better access to the spark plugs. And I'm glad I did, because those spark plugs were in there pretty solid, and I think we had like 64,000 miles on them. The last time I changed them, it was like around 80,000. And so I made sure to put on some of that anti-seize onto the spark plug threading. That I reassembled everything and took it for a test drive. It was running good. And then after that I put everything back together, and then I put in the fuel injector treatment. So nice. Over the weekend it was beautiful. We got a little bit of sprinkles throughout the day yesterday, but man, it was just so nice. We wanted to be outside. The boys went to the botanical garden and we barbecued some ribs. It's good. And then we did some sweet corn on the grill. started just throwing the whole corn on there with the husks and everything. I just toss them on the grill like that. Man, these guys are busy texting. That's why they're coming into our lanes. But when you do that, you just let it cook slowly, and by the time your barbecue's all done, you're cutting your meat, then the corn's nice and soft. You just peel it back when you're ready and crunch away. Oh man, I forgot all about that pump right there. And then yesterday I worked on the 2017, topped off all the fluids, and then I had to replace a bulb on the bottom fog light apparatus on the passenger side, because the aftermarket piece had a bulb holder that only had two of the wires that were needed three to go into the pigtail. So I ended up just reusing the bulb from the original fog lamp turn signal, and that fixed it up. I didn't do a car wash on that vehicle. I did change the air filter, but I noticed on the 16 you need to get a brake fluid flush soon, so I'm gonna see what that cost at the dealer. I'm still waiting for the dealer to get back to us as well. At Camelback Ford, they overfilled the oil in the 16 when I took it in last week. So let's see what's on the news today. Man, it looks like there's some rain up there. Look at Kukui.
If you have low T, start for free this month only at Red Mountain.
Drive sales of protein bars, protein shakes, protein powders, especially among teenagers. NPR's Yuki Noguchi reports on the trend and where to be cautious. 17-year-old Emiliano Sloronsky joined Santa Monica High School's football team as a freshman, and at the urging of coaches and teammates, started hitting the gym. People he met there had other strategies for bulking up.
They would take protein powders, other supplements, like some people I know take ashwagandha, and maybe creatine.
Emiliano began taking some too, but his dad, Eduardo, wanted to make sure his son's diet and attitude remained balanced.
My concern was the influence that social media has on these supplements and all these kind of things on the culture of bodybuilding on the gyms.
A poll of parents by the Mott Children's Hospital at the University of Michigan last fall found 40% of teens consumed some type of protein supplement in the past year. Sarah Clark co-directs the poll.
The teen boys were twice as likely to consume protein every day.
Girls, she says, more often relied on supplements as meal replacements. Often, coaches, peers, and social media encourage kids to consume more protein. But Clark says parents did too.
I wonder if, as parents, we are recognizing how much messaging we have taken in about protein being good. We have absorbed this messaging. That's the key to being healthy.
But there is such a thing as too much protein. Brianna Kane is a pediatric dietitian at Children's National Hospital in Washington, D.C. She recommends targeting daily protein intake by body weight.
1 gram per kilogram, and might even increase from there based on their physical activity needs.
So for a 150-pound person, that amounts to 68 grams of protein, which is roughly a cup of cooked chicken and 2 cups of yogurt. Kane says more than 100 grams of daily protein could eventually damage the kidney and liver. It could also cause stomach pain, as it did for one of her teen patients.
They were eating protein supplements with all of their meals and also with all of their snacks. They were having a lot of abdominal pain.
The vast majority of teens, Kane says, already get enough protein in their diet without supplements. University of California, San Francisco pediatrician and eating disorder expert Jason Nagata is also concerned about quality control. Supplements, including protein bars and powders, are not regulated by the Food and Drug Administration. They're not tested and
parents to know that there isn't that kind of rigorous quality control. So especially when you're getting mixtures of muscle building supplements and products, I would just be very cautious.
Nagata advises buying directly from known companies and reading ingredient labels to check what's in them. Nagata also worries this protein craze could worsen a 400% increase in eating disorders among boys over the past 2 decades. Over that period, he says, muscles on action figures like Batman and Superman grew, as have pressures on ordinary people to post attractive photos of themselves online.
The masculine body ideal has become increasingly large and muscular, and so more and more boys are trying to become muscular now than they have ever before.
Nagata says protein powders can be consumed safely as part of a balanced diet and approach to health. Yuki Noguchi, and
It is 5:42 now on Arizona's Morning News with Jim Sharp and LaDonna Harvey. And from the KTAR Business Center, Hadrian, an AI-powered advanced manufacturing company, is investing $200 million to build a 270,000 square foot factory in Mesa, creating 350 high-wage jobs. Located at the Cube's Mesa Gateway, that's near Pecos and Crisman. The facility will produce aerospace and defense components and is set to open in early 2026.
But I need to know if they're building a wall, honestly. Checking Hadrian's Wall. Scotland.
Gotcha.
Gathering hordes, trying to keep them at bay. Right now we're looking up across the board. Our futures 98 up on the Dow, 13 up on the S&P, and 53 on the NASDAQ. For more money news, visit the Business Center at KTAR.com.
KTAR News Flash. At 5:42, this is what you need to know right now. After surveying fire damage from the Dragon Bravo fire on the north rim of the Grand Canyon this weekend, Governor Katie Hobbs is expressing concern for the firefighters, staff, and businesses impacted by the disaster. She meets with the Department of Interior and the U.S. Fire Service. Let me say that again. And the U.S. Fire Service this week to discuss how the fire was addressed.
The first advanced water purification facility in the valley is being built in North Phoenix. The city secured about $180 million in Inflation Reduction Act funding to build it. It'll take used water and make it safe to drink.
Growing bipartisan pressure on the Trump administration to release all of the government's files on convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein. A group of House Republicans joining Democrats pushing for a vote to compel the release. The resolution underscores the outrage some lawmakers are feeling from their own base. So all of our top stories are just 15 minutes away. For more news, go to KTAR.com or the KTAR News app.
Now let's check those roads live in the Valley Chevy Dealers Traffic Center with John Roller.
All right, thank you very much, LaDonna. Well, at least so far on this Monday morning, the drive-in from anywhere in the valley as far as the main lines are concerned, looking very orderly right now. All green conditions, very normal conditions. 347 coming out of Maricopa, flowing smoothly. Same thing with the 24 as well. We did clear away that crash on the eastbound side of the 60 at Ellsworth. That is out of there. 43rd Avenue in Washington, however, we've got a crash there as well as a crash at 28th Avenue and Thunderbird right near the I-17 this morning, and still working that crash in the downtown area involving a pedestrian. Jefferson just east of 7th Street. Don't forget this morning, northbound 101, the Pima Freeway, the Raintree on-ramp, going to be closed for the next couple of months. John Roller, KTAR News.
A few clouds and maybe some windy conditions at times and a 20% chance of some monsoon action. Look for a high today of 103. Weather's brought to you by Howard Air and Plumbing. Whether replace or repair, call Howard Air and Plumbing.
As the search for victims of the Independence Day flash flood in Central Texas is in its 3rd week, something the FEMA team known as Arizona Task Force 1 has played a part in, officials have dramatically lowered the number of people still considered missing.
Joining us from Texas is ABC News correspondent Jim Ryan. Jim, there were more than 160 people missing at one point. Now it's down to 3. So have the remains of that many people been found, or were there some people considered missing who weren't actually lost in the flood?
Yeah, the good part of this is that as the number of unaccounted for has gone down, the death count has not gone up. 134 people we know did die. And now the list is down to 3 people in Kerr County who are still missing, 4 missing in Travis County where Austin is, and 1 missing in Burnett County, also there in the Hill Country. So that's 8 altogether from a list that initially comprised over 170, Jim. So yeah, it's just been a matter of sitting down on. So you've got people out there in the field, literally in the field, in the flood zone, looking for more of the victims. But you also had people staffing phone lines, comparing lists, getting together, and trying to find out exactly how many people actually are missing, based on people checking in with their loved ones, checking in with law enforcers. That's how we got to this. So it wasn't so much a matter of tromping around out in the field as it was a matter of paperwork and refining these lists and making them more accurate.
Does it feel like they're ready to call the search off, or are they just going to stay at it until they can find the 8 people now that are still missing?
Well, certainly the search is still on for those people, but at the same time, and you've got this parallel effort at recovery going on, LaDonna. That is beginning the process of cleaning up thousands and thousands of tons of debris, including fallen trees and houses and cars and all the rest of it. So that's really kind of the next step, but it will be done in conjunction with this careful search for more of the victims, for these other 8 people who are still missing. And in fact, these 8, the 3 in Kerr County, 4 in Travis, and 1 in Burnett County, they might all come up as safe and sound somewhere else as well.
Boy, that's the hope there, right? Yeah. We are talking with ABC News correspondent Jim Ryan, and he's in Texas. We're talking about the Independence Day flash flood, where the number of people who are still missing has been reduced to 8. And one of the things we talked about right after the flood happened, Jim, was the efforts to not have something like this happen. I mean, I'm so glad that fewer people have died than we thought originally, but still 130 plus is a lot of people. How are those efforts going? And is there a big public?
All right, folks, thanks for tuning in. You guys have a great day. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe.